So Rene Descartes was a, let's see here, 17th century, I think is, I always have trouble with these years, in the 1600s, so 17th century philosopher. And he argued for this idea of dualism. Dualism is a belief that mind and body were distinct. The mind is not your brain, it is something non-material, immaterial. He argued that your body worked as a hydraulic system. And we'll find this happening often throughout the course, that as new technologies developed, philosophers and psychologists have borrowed those technologies to understand the nature of our being. So you may be familiar with ideas about computers and how our brain is like a computer. Well, Descartes argued that our body is like a hydraulic system, something that was just developed around his time. So our reflexes and everything throughout our body was just a response to stimuli. However, he argued that we're not just machines, our bodies are machines, but our mind is a non-material entity that didn't follow the laws of nature. It's a spiritual idea. And Descartes argued that the mind controls the body. So there's this sort of immaterial, it's not necessarily your brain, but it is likely connected to your brain, but it's this idea that the mind enters your body somehow and controls the body. So it controls how you behave. But then, when you're hungry, you get upset. And so it seems that the body can also influence the mind. Pain can focus your attention on something. So it's bidirectional, but they're separate. They're connected, but they're separate systems. Now, many of you are probably dualists in your understanding of human nature, and you may not even know it. Western culture has absorbed this idea that we have a mind or a spirit that is non-physical and a body that is physical. You may actually believe that this is theological. This is what the Bible teaches. It's complicated, but the Bible doesn't necessarily say that that's the case. Well, it's arguable that there's another perspective that occurs in the Bible, and I'll unpack that later on in the course. And so it's a really interesting topic. And so, sorry about that. So Descartes' dualism, again, it's that we're an immaterial soul and mechanical body. The mechanical side is our body is similar to a machine, but our immaterial soul is our ability to think and freely make decisions, and our emotions and rationality all occur in our immaterial soul. So, question for you, again, one that I'll come back to, is does Scripture actually teach that humans have two natures? Now, the interesting thing about Descartes is that when he argued that we have a mechanical aspect to our humanness, it actually opened the way for scientific mechanistic investigation of human behavior, because if we are a machine, we're predictable. If we're just a soul that inhabits the body and all of our behaviors just on a whim, it's unpredictable. But if there's a part of us that's a machine, then we should be able to predict how we respond to certain things. So basically, Descartes said, what you see can affect what you do. It's kind of the idea with this figure. Again, if humans have that material nature that is mechanistic, then we can predict and control human behavior.